quick before we begin, this is a spoiler-free video. If you've not yet started playing The Last of Us Part 2, I will be just going over gameplay mechanics like how it plays and what's new in this one. I'm leaving out story stuff because I will be doing a follow-up video talking about how I feel about the story very soon. The Last of Us Part 2 warrants making two different videos because how brilliant the gameplay is and how frustrated I got at the story. If you are watching in the future, there will be a link to the follow-up video down in the description, and if you are here because I said in the other video, check this one out because there aren't any spoilers here. Thanks for doing what I asked, I appreciate it. But without further ado, let's get into the things I loved about The Last of Us Part 2. See, this video exists separately to the other one because while my opinions are very, let's just say, opinionated on how things actually pan out in the game, it just does so much right. The gameplay is top notch and you can tell such a talented studio is behind making it feel as good as it is to play, and genuinely I think the super polished gameplay outweighs the things that disappointed me. This video isn't about the disappointments that The Last of Us Part 2 brought to me, it's about everything it manages to do nearly flawlessly. Now I'm writing this video at about 13 hours into the game. I'll be finishing the game before doing the second video, but I think I'm at a very good point to talk about the mechanics of it all right now, because I've got a proper taste of everything it has to offer gameplay wise. The gameplay itself feels extremely familiar, and that's no bad thing. The original Last of Us game is considered by many a masterpiece, and like many good sequels do, The Last of Us Part 2 wraps up what we already know and puts a little bow on it to show it's a bit more refined and it's a bit more polished. Like for example, you've still got your skill trees that you use pills you've gathered to upgrade, and it's done in a very similar fashion to the first game, but you've got more upgrades here. And I'm pretty sure there are less training manuals, which makes it easier to get all the upgrades. Same goes with weapons, there's little screws hidden all over the place that you can spend on weapon upgrades. The only thing is, I'm not sure if it's all that different to the last game, and honestly that's not an issue. The weapon upgrade system is fine, and it creates really difficult moments of weighing out the benefits of each upgrade in your head because your options are very limited. Adding to the importance of what weapon upgrades you go for is very limited number of workbenches you'll come across in your playthrough, making each upgrade count a little bit more. On the topic of guns, I may as well mention that Naughty Dog nailed the gunplay in this game, yet again in a similar fashion to the first one, yeah, but I don't know, it just really masters the art of a 19-year-old fumbling around with a gun in a tense situation during a zombie apocalypse, and trust me, I know, I've had my share of zombie apocalypses back in the day and my aim is just awful. I just love how there's points in combat where you're shooting at an enemy and Ellie gets knocked onto her back, and you get these like make or break moments where you can either pull off a really cool headshot, covering their allies in their dead friend and hopping back up on your feet, or what I usually do, take a load of damage and wish you were better at video games. But I mean, hey, it's better than turning on auto aim like a pussy. I still can't walk down the street without someone throwing stones at me for that one time I used auto aim in Uncharted 4. Another thing I love about those super intense moments of combat has to be Ellie's knife. It's just really fun to sprint up and slash at an enemy while dodging their attacks. It's a really useful way of saving ammo, especially against the weaker zombies called runners. And some of the sprint knife takedowns are really brutal. They really had the go big or go home mantra with gore in this one. Ammo, as you would imagine in a zombie survival game, is always too scarce, forcing you to think actively when approaching enemies and be as efficient as you possibly can. I don't think I've gone into one combat situation, be it with people or infected, that hasn't felt insanely tense. Literally not one encounter was like, it's only a couple of armed soldiers, I'm sure they won't notice me. I'm not a big fan of stealth in video games, and this game really forces stealth on you to make your life a lot easier, so for me to wholeheartedly say I love being stealthy in The Last of Us Part 2 speaks volumes for the game. What adds an extra layer to the stealth in this game, which you won't find in the last, is the ability to go prone. And while the enemies are super dumb for not being able to see you prone in the short grass, it makes for some really fun stealth sections where you feel like a god for taking down 10 people unnoticed just by being able to crawl. Some of the stealth takedowns that Ellie does as well look so gruesome. She literally slits their throats, you see the blood squirt out and hear them gargle to death unable to breathe. It's, oh my god, it's genuinely chilling and so unnerving to watch some of the stealth takedowns, especially considering how good graphics are getting. Yet another layer of combat that was added to this game is dogs. They essentially can track you if you get too close to them, and they will follow your scent unless you manage to distract them or get far enough away to drop them. Now, I have 3 problems with the dogs in this game, and they're not really gameplay issues as such, it's just I personally don't like what they're doing with them. Number 1, I have never been able to distract a dog without alerting one of the enemies. Number 2, I can never get far away enough from the dog to drop the scent without alerting the enemies, but if you don't lose the dog, they will bark and alert the enemies. Number 3, the dogs are so cute. I'm sorry, I just feel so bad for killing them no matter how vicious they are. Another mildly disturbing thing that does tend to play on your conscience a little as you progress through more combat scenarios is you will kill someone in a group. That person screams in agony before they die, and then their ally will scream out their name in horror because someone they work with has just been murdered. And obviously it's just like any other game, going around killing the people attacking you, but that extra layer of depth really makes you think, damn, they have put a huge amount of effort into the enemy AI. That extra level of personality that's added to them is like nothing I've ever seen before in another game, and it's very impressive. Also, one time I stealthily killed a dog from the bushes with a bow and arrow, and its owner screamed their pet's name, and that made me feel a bit bad. But then I remembered these are awful people, and there is a reason that I can't tell you that you're doing all of this, and then you feel a little less bad and a lot more determined. One final aspect of combat that I feel is worth mentioning is the breakable melee weapons that you can randomly find and pick up. They vary so much from a 2x4 plank of wood to a hatchet. There's hammers and baseball bats, all pretty standard zombie apocalypse stuff. The catch is they last about 5 seconds and they're gone. The range is like 3 to 6 hits. Usually you can use some crafting materials to make it stronger damage wise and durability wise, but even at that they won't last long at all. Oh yeah, and they really expect us to believe Ellie is just storing a pump shotgun in that backpack before you find the second long gun holster. Her bag must just lead to another dimension or something with all the stuff she carries in it. Also, notice how I said find the long weapon holster, not craft it or gain it from an upgrade. You get it and the second shotgun holster by unlocking safes. There are a pile of safes dotted around the place, and when you find one, you either have to find a note with a 6-digit code on it to unlock the safe, or you have to look around the area and figure out what the code is from photos, or in one case it was written across a bathroom wall. There was also one I really had to think about because I had the numbers correct. It's just the way dates are written in America, it's the other way around to how they are here. And I will never understand why that's a thing, because if we agreed on one way to write the dates, there wouldn't be any confusion. We all speak English and I don't really know why it's like this. Another few things you'll have to find are crafting materials. Nowhere near as hard to find as the safes, but they are all pretty valuable. There is a wide range of things you can craft, and some of them share the same materials that they need to be crafted, so you really have got to figure out what you're going to prioritise. Me, I always prioritise medkits over explosives because I never really got into the habit of using explosives, and you can never have enough medkits. Other things you can craft are Molotovs, smoke grenades, arrows, and a silencer, but the silencer only works for one pistol and it breaks quite easily. You also can't pause the game to craft. When you open the crafting menu, it shows Ellie taking off her bag and opening it, meaning if there are enemies nearby and you badly need to craft something, the moment just got a whole lot more intense. And like I said earlier, every combat encounter feels so tense, and that's kind of rare in games these days. Something I just wanted to quickly mention is rope swinging. It kind of feels like the rope swinging in Uncharted 4, but if they broke Nathan Drake's legs, and it's very infrequent. I just wanted to bring it up because I beat Uncharted 4 recently, and to me it just seems Naughty Dog are passionate about rope swinging now. And in this game you sometimes have to think about where you're going to throw your rope to allow you to cross a gap, which I kind of like because it involves a bit of thinking. I've sort of talked about Ellie's backpack in terms of crafting and upgrading her skills, but it's also where she keeps her I can never say the word journal without trying a few times. It's also where she keeps her journal. In a very similar fashion to Uncharted 4, as you progress through the story, Ellie will draw pictures in her journal about what's happening, what she finds, and what emotions she is feeling. I don't really want to show footage of the journal in this video because it would have spoilers in it, but I felt the need to mention it because it helps capture the emotion of the game and gives a window straight into how everything is making Ellie feel. And I really love how the developers went about implementing it to add an extra bit of depth to the emotion the game is already making you feel. Also, yet again, just like Uncharted 4, as you explore the environments, there are notes scattered in almost every room, and after picking them up, Ellie puts them in her bag. They give information on the enemies, but also a lot of the time, there'll be someone writing about their last moments after getting bitten or attacked. If you actually take the time to read these notes, they yet again convey a sense of emotion that you won't find in other games. We can't have a video talking about what this game does right without mentioning the stunning visuals. The game looks insane and just screams talent to me. but I'm almost certain it's my monitor because whenever I put the footage on my computer I don't see it, but when I'm playing I'm noticing a lot of film grain. It's not a deal breaker, but I do feel like it's taking away from how the game looks just a little bit. Let me know down in the comments if you're seeing this film grain too, or if it's just me. I'm going to maybe play the rest of the game in my living room on the big screen with HDR to see if that fixes my problem, but even the way it is, this is one of the best looking PS4 Pro games I've played. The actual design language of the game is essentially nature taking over city and what that would look like, and they just absolutely nailed it. All the textures are super detailed, and the actual infected themselves, the detail they put into the character models is insane. The clickers and bloaters specifically look vile, like if you really look closely at them after killing one, it would almost turn your stomach. But that's what you want from a game like this. You want it to be insanely detailed and horrific to look at, because that's exactly what the developers want you to feel. I love the way this game is presented. I honestly don't think I'd change one thing about the look it's going for, because they did a flawless job. Real quick, gonna mention the thing where you have to tap your controller against your hand to get your flashlight working again. It always happens at really creepy moments, and it forces you to take your hand off the right thumbstick, meaning you are unable to aim your gun, and I don't know, I just really love that for some reason. It creates that split second of intensity that you keep getting throughout the game, and it just builds on that whole atmosphere. So that was everything I loved about The Last of Us Part 2. I mean, the gameplay is hands down just really brilliant. I had a great time talking about everything it just does so right, so that's why it's a shame my next video won't be so positive. Regardless of how I feel about the story and what direction it takes that bothered me, the main fundamental of a game is how enjoyable it is to play, and playing The Last of Us Part 2 straight up is a really immersive time. Thank you so much for checking out my first video on this really controversial PlayStation 4 exclusive. I had a lot of fun writing this video, and I hope you had a lot of fun watching it. If you did enjoy watching it, please consider hitting the like button and subscribing. It helps out the channel so much. If you want to keep up to date with the channel, you can find me on Twitter at AnthonyJGaming. I'm pretty active on Twitter, so why don't you go over there and say hi. As always, thank you so much for watching. Bye.